This is a very important discussion because it is about a fundamental American principle. And as you mentioned, over a year ago, we actually began work on the Respect for Rights of Conscience Act in anticipation that the new health care law may actually be used to undermine religious freedom and the moral precepts, the deeply held beliefs of many Americans in this country. You had mentioned that this particular bill, hopefully we'll get it through this House soon. There is a companion measure, by the way, in the Senate. But this particular bill would not only protect faith-based organizations who seem to be most perniciously targeted by this new HHS mandate, from the strong arm of government forcing them to pay for drugs and procedures that may violate their ethics norms. It would also protect all Americans, because right now these institutions, as well as other people of goodwill, are being asked to choose. Follow your deeply held reasoned beliefs or obey President Obama and Secretary of Health and Human Services Kathleen Sebelius's new mandate in violation of your conscience rights. That's a false choice. That's un-American. That violates a deeply held principle of this country, namely religious liberty, which we have held so dear throughout our history. So the Respect for Rights of Conscience Act really does one simple thing. It restores us to where we were a year and a half ago before the new health care law came into being. And it would prevent things such as this new mandate, which is an intrusion of government into the faith life of many Americans, from ever happening. So I'm very pleased that, again, your willingness to hold this hour of discussion with fellow members. Bipartisan bill, by the way. There are Democrats and Republicans on this bill. It is a bicameral bill. There are over 200 House members. 200 House members who have co-sponsored this bill, Democrats and Republicans. And there are 37 members on the companion piece in the United States Senate, dropped by my friend Senator Roy Blunt from Missouri. In fact, Senator Blunt has offered this as potential amendments to must-pass legislation in the other body. We haven't seen that go through yet. So there's tremendous momentum for this piece of legislation because it's not about politics. It's not about partisanship. It's about principle, a fundamental American principle, the rights of conscience and religious liberty as applied in health care. So I'm pleased by the outpouring of support from members of both sides of the aisle here. I think that is due to the intensity of concern across America about how this time the government has gone too far. So with that, I'll yield back to you. But again, I appreciate your willingness to hold a good conversation tonight on this fundamental principle of religious liberty and the rights of conscience for all Americans.
Well, thank you. And I do want to applaud Representative Fortenberry, Lincoln, Nebraska, of this courageous move that he has taken for being a leader on this important issue of protecting the rights of the conscience of Americans. And I thank you for your leadership on this issue.
Well, I appreciate it. I hope that we continue to hold more conversations about this, because America needs to know, and America is already speaking, and that is evident in the number of members who are deeply interested in this bill.